What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome back to my unit review series for Fire Emblem Heroes, and today I'm going to be taking a look at Summer Fiora, and these are the topics I'm going to be discussing in this video. And in times like these where I might get demonetized for taking the name of this skill, I really want to thank Amino apps for sponsoring this video. Amino is a collection of many sub-communities of any kind of interest or hobby you might have. Fire Emblem Heroes Amino is a great place to interact with other FEH players, share your art, share your summoning results and your builds, and overall just have fun. Amino has got a new feature called Amino Stories where you could upload your own short videos, and you guys really enjoyed the first story which I uploaded, so I've uploaded another one there, and you can check it out by downloading Amino from the description down below and by searching for my profile name. It's a story about some Fire Emblem Heroes trivia which you might like, and now let us begin with the video.
I encourage you to judge me based solely on my ability.
Fiora is a free-to-play sword flyer, and the other free-to-play sword flyer is Pala, which we got almost 2 years back in the White Wing quest. Obviously, Shida is also a really accessible sword flyer. Taking a look at her stats, her speed is definitely the highlight at really high base 37, which makes her a really fantastic fire sweep sword user. Shida and Pala, the other two flyers that give her competition, cannot really run fire sweep as good as Fiora can, and she has decent base attack at base 32. I wish this was higher, just even like 2 stat points. That would have been pretty fantastic, but it just ends up at 32, which is not a lot. Her bulk is nothing really too spectacular, but can definitely be workable if you invest into those defenses, and she can definitely act as a tank, as you will see in some of her builds. Her weapon is Pedal Parasol Plus, and if any kind of negative status effect is active on foe, like debuff, or something like gravity status, panic status, anything like that, then she gets +5 speed and +5 attack during the combat. This is a pretty decent weapon because you could certainly utilize stuff like chill skills, ploy skills, and the shrine structures in AR for getting the debuffs, but it's not very consistent and not really the best weapon to be used on someone like Fiora, especially when you have other better options available which are just more consistent. And there's also the fact that if you don't really have any kind of other debuffs on your team, then attack smoke debuff is going to be happening after the combat. Her slot B skill is Speed Res Link, and she comes with Swap as the assist skill to go with that Link skill. I really wish this was repositioned. I'm not really too sure why they give these kinds of Link skill units stuff like Swap. I really wish it was something better. Reposition would definitely be much more appreciated, but nonetheless it still gets the job done. Speed Res Link isn't really the best Link skill, but still it can be worked out with some other budget options. Attack Smoke is her slotsy skill, which is synergetic with her weapon and goes well with her workable defenses. Compared to other available sword flyers, we have got Pala and Shida as her main competitions. If you take a look at their raw stats, then sure, Fiora beats both of them, but you still have to consider the fact that Shida and Pala have got their preferred weapons and also weapon refines. Shida in particular is a fantastic armor and horse check because of having dual effectiveness with Winged Sword. Not to mention she has got Flashing Blade, which flyers cannot have access to. If Fiora could have access to Flashing Blade, she would be a really good unit, and Heavy Blade doesn't really do too much with her attack stats, so having Flashing Blade on Winged Sword is definitely a big boon for Shida. Shida can not only be used as an armor and horse check, but can also be used as a Gale Force unit because of Flashing Blade weapon refine, and that makes her really versatile. The role she's able to do as a sword flyer is absolutely fantastic and makes her really worth investing into. Not to mention Shida also has better resistance, so she can run ploys a bit better and take on dragons a bit better as well. And then we've got Pala. I would say that Pala doesn't really give as stiff of a competition as Shida to Fiora, but still, nonetheless, she does give the competition because she does have Wide Wing Sword, and that does have Triangle Adept built into it, which makes her a really good Arena Assault and Arena unit for facing a lot of the green threats. Not to mention she can also be used in a Fire Emblem team in AR defense because she's able to get the Brave effect on a weapon, which is still useful nonetheless. But still, I would say that Shida is the better sword flyer out of the three, and after that you would have Fiora. Still, Fiora is versatile because of her balanced stat line and is a bit more of a generalist, and she doesn't really face as much of a hopeless competition compared to someone like Cynthia, who was a recent free-to-play unit, because she is a lance flyer. So the competition is still there, but still it's not really as brutal as being a lance flyer. Shida is definitely the best accessible sword flyer in my opinion, followed by Fiora, and then at last Pala, because the role Pala can do is pretty restricted because of her weapon refine. And I do have a +10 Pala on my free-to-play account, and I have used Shida a lot extensively as well, so I'm speaking from that experience. So overall, I would say that Fiora is a pretty good free-to-play unit that we have received in the recent times. Definitely much better than someone like Cynthia, because the competition isn't really all that stiff, and Swordflyer isn't a very saturated class type in the budget options compared to something like Infantry Swords or Lance Flyers, so that is definitely helpful. Fiora has got Speed Res Link at 4-star rarity, and if you want to fodder off the 4-star copy, then here are some good recipients of that skill. Lucina has got a free real estate whenever any kind of link skill is mentioned because of future vision. It's definitely really helpful, but I would say that it's not really the best link skill on her because she already has plenty of speed. Speed Res Link is just an overkill in the speed department. You also have Versa, who can act as a smite bot in Ether Raids and have Attack Tactic as a slotsy skill, so that is definitely going to be useful for any kind of tank or a Vantage Sweeper. You also have Male Corrin as an Ether Raid support bot, and you could definitely make use of the speed on a super tank like Noe or Faye, and resistance is definitely really helpful with threats like Ophelia, and you can run double drive resistance for amping up your resistance even more.
No swimsuit can stop me.
Her first build is a budget build utilizing Fury. It's a pretty good option with her balanced stat line, to say the least. And you can run Chill Speed to support your allies and also to activate her weapons condition. And Chill Defense can be run as a Sacred Seal whenever it gets released. Smite is also an option if you just want to use her as a budget AR support unit. Her next build is utilizing double chills, so Chill Defense and Slot B from Wallhard is definitely pretty nice, and Chill Speed as a Sacred Seal makes her a pretty good support unit, and once again does help her in activating her weapon. Her third build is an Arena Assault Armor Check build. She can certainly run Armor Smasher, Triangle Adept, and Axe Breaker to check Searchers. Axe Breaker is definitely needed to one-round KO a plus 10 merge Searcher, and I would say that Fire Blessing is preferred on her for Arena Assault because Legendary Hector will be seen more in the Fire season, obviously, on the defense teams, so that's why Fire Blessing is definitely a pretty good option. Swordbreaker can also be run if you want to increase your coverage, but Axe Breaker is useful if you just want to one-round KO these annoying Axe Armor units who run Weary Fighter. And if you have already invested into someone like Shida, then still it doesn't hurt to invest in something like this because there are many green armor threats in Arena Assault, so she's definitely going to be useful in that regard. Her fourth build is making her into a budget AR Smite support. Smite is an extremely good skill in Ether Raids regardless if you use Vantage strategy, super tanks, heal force units, or hit and run strategy, because Smite is really useful for testing traps because you will not lose your movement, and can also be used for covering distance and for reaching the enemy team. And she already has a link skill, so you could just run Attack Tactic from Legalt and have Defense Tactic. Makes her a pretty good support bot in that regard. And you can run Slaying Edge like the previous build and just have an offensive build on her with Fury, Desperation, and a Brazen Seal. You could definitely run some other Brazen Seal if you have speed support on the team. And Moonbow becomes a one-turn special, which is useful in Desperation range. I mean, these kinds of builds are as old as the time itself. And the other option is running Vodao as well to improve her damage output because she doesn't really have the highest base attack. And her seventh build is utilizing Fire Sweep Sword. Now, as I said before, Fiora is extremely good at utilizing Fire Sweep Sword compared to Shida and Pala. So this is a role in which she beats out her competition, and the only competition she has got left is Legendary Ryoma, who has got Bushido and is certainly better than Fiora, but he is a 5-star exclusive unit and a legendary unit, so really hard to get and merge up. And her amazing base speed is really good. You just want to run Life and Death and have a hit and run set basically. You could also run Lunge if you want to have her on your AR defense team if you're using something like Lunge Traps, but still you will have to watch out for Null Counter Disrupt units because they won't care about her Fire Sweep weapon. And her 8th build is a max investment build for AR. So she can become an AR tank, and this image does include light buffs from 2 airs, so she's getting plus 10 resistance and plus 10 HP. And with Barrier Sword and Distant Counter, Dull Range, she can be a pretty good tank. She does reach 47 visible resistance, which is really good because there are a lot of magical threats in AR. Dull Range helps against Blade Tome threats and also buffed range foes who are danced by someone like Legendary Azura. Noontime or Soul can be used to keep her healthy because she's going to be facing a lot of foes. Iod Shield is definitely required because there are a lot of effective damage dealers in AR like Brave Lyn, Legendary Alm, and stuff like that. It's definitely a very expensive build, but still it's an option nonetheless if you really like Fiora and if you would like to use her in AR. This is certainly an option which you could pick. but still you will have to watch out for blue threats like Ophelia and Reinhardt, who can be annoying when combined with stuff like Chill Resistance and Dark Shrine debuffs, which are likely gonna be targeting Fiora, so that's gonna be super annoying. And her final build is also another max investment build, but this one is for Arena. It's for reaching the max score for Fiora, and Guidance is really useful in a metagame where you do not have any kind of positioning skills. Chill Attack is definitely useful for supporting bonus units, and Gale Force is definitely something you should run over Ether so that you do not really take out units unnecessarily because you just want to chip them away. This is pretty much the build which I run on my Plus 10 Padla on my free-to-play account, and the only thing is that she's going to be competing with Shida and Pala for this role because they don't require a 300 SP slotsy skill because they already have a preferred weapon. So that helps them, and Fiora doesn't really give as much of a good chip damage as a Windsweep, Shida, or Pala. Pala, because of her weapon, can easily stall out stuff like Surtur and not really take too much damage and still like do decent amount of chip damage to him, but Fiora will not be able to do something like that, so she is a good cheerleader but definitely faces competition.
Glory to Ilia!
Fiora is pretty versatile in terms of blessings. You could definitely give any kind of blessing and she will work out because of her balance stat line, but still I would say that Fire Blessing is better because, as I said before, if you're running an Armor Smasher build, you're likely to face more Legendary Hectors in the Fire season, so that's why you could just do that. And she can also be a good Smite bot if you're using her with a Gale Force Legendary Ephraim. Marth has got bonus doubler built into his weapon, and if you're using Fiora as a buff bot, then she can definitely be pretty useful with him. And Legendary Hector can provide Fiora with the attack buff, which is definitely needed. Ostia's Pulse support is also pretty good on her, and the buffs which Fiora can provide also help Legendary Hector a lot in terms of tanking. As I said before, if you like Fiora and if you would like to use her in Ether raids, then she can definitely use Light Blessings from here and run a pretty good tank build with Barrier Sword, and the resistance boost is definitely going to be helping her a lot, and Sparkling boost is definitely pretty useful in keeping Fiora healthy.
This is for the mission, right?
Mordecai has got fantastic synergy with Fiora because he has got attack defense link and she has got speed res link, so they go well, really well together. And Sabertooth Fang of Mordecai gives her the debuffs on foes, which can activate her default weapon if you're using that, so the synergy is really good between those two units. Aversa with her panic status and the debuffs can also help her activate her weapon, and Soren with the chill weapon that he has got can run other two chill skills and Slot B and Sacred Seal to support Fiora and activate her default weapon. If that's something you're running, and you can definitely run a Fire Emblem team around her and support her, and she can be a pretty good offensive or a defensive unit because of her balanced stat line. And finally, you would have to run some strong blue checks because blue units are definitely going to be giving Fiora some trouble. As for counters, you will have to watch out for these kinds of bulky armor units that you're going to be facing in Arena. If you do use her in Arena Assault or Arena as a cheerleader, and archers are also something you would have to watch out for if you're not running Eye of Shield Sacred Seal. Threats like Reinhardt and Ophelia can be annoying in Ether raids, and they are pretty common. And now let's take a look at some of the reasons why you may or may not want to invest into Fiora with your Heroic Grails. Because she's a Tempest Trial unit, she will be requiring 2,700 Grails to reach the plus 10 merge, which is a lot compared to some of the Grand Hero Battle units. She's got pretty good balanced stat line, and that kind of stat line gets even better with merges, and she is really versatile as a generalist and has many build options. And as I showed before, she could definitely function as an arena cheerleader or Ether raids tank if that's something you want to do with her. There are definitely a lot of reasons why you may not want to invest into her. Main reason is that she faces a very stiff competition from Shida especially. Both Pala and Shida are easier to merge, and they don't really use up your valuable grails, which you could use to invest into some other unique units like Aversa maybe, who's also a really good red flyer and does take less grails because of being a Grand Hero Battle unit. And Pala and Shida do not need 300 SP slots skill to reach the max arena score. She could definitely run a super tank build in Ether raids, but unfortunately she doesn't have access to null counter disrupt, which can be annoying if you face a lot of Fire Sweep weapon units and also dazzling staff units. But if you like Fiora because of her good art and how cute she looks, then yeah, that's also a pretty good reason to invest into, because you should definitely try to play with your favorite units. That way you're going to be having way more fun in the game. And that's going to be it for this unit review. I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you enjoyed, then please be sure to leave a like and be sure to share this video with your friends who really like Fiora. And if you haven't already, then make sure to subscribe for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. And please be sure to hit that notification bell and click on all so that you can always get the notification to my videos whenever I upload. Because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as all of Fiora's subordinates from Dread Isle. Okay, that was a bit of a dark joke. I'm sorry, Fiora. But with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.